Tonight, getting closer to groundbreaking.
Our message is full steam ahead, because that's what we really want to achieve, is start production here in St. Thomas.
The latest on the massive electric vehicle battery facility gearing up for hiring. Plus, a proposed housing project in Sarnia and the neighborhood conflict it's causing.
They have addictions, mental issues, and we just don't need any more here.
So I just think it's wrong that these people say they're doing our part when they're doing nothing.
And island vibes in the heart of the city. We look ahead to Jerkfest coming up at the Covent Garden Market.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight in St. Thomas, where hiring is ramping up at the Volkswagen electric vehicle battery plant. Officials behind the project say it's full steam ahead for the largest automotive facility built in this country in decades. Sean Irvin reports.
For the first time, we're hearing directly from Volkswagen about the number of jobs it will create when it opens its massive PowerCo battery plant in St. Thomas.
So I think the answer at the moment is thousands of jobs.
When announced in 2023, PowerCo was predicted to employ 3,000 people and create thousands of spin-off jobs. With initial site infrastructure nearing completion, the groundbreaking for Phase 1 is only weeks away. But just how fast the plant will expand and the size of its workforce is not known, with the unpredictability of U.S. tariffs and ongoing trade discussions.
We are monitoring the trade topic very closely, but for the next couple of years, our message is full steam ahead, because that's what we really want to achieve, is start production here in St. Thomas.
To meet its goal, PowerCo has begun a marketing campaign to attract specialized talent, including chemists and IT professionals. In the coming weeks, the company will launch a new jobs website for frontline workers. Initial hires will be trained at a purpose-built local training facility.
So the big wave would start next year, and then you would see that growing into the years to come.
A large skilled workforce was a major reason southwestern Ontario was selected for the massive PowerCo facility.
Important is that we get the right workforce here. We think this is the case.
Asked if that vision has been met 2 years on, Wickbolt told CTV News,
I'm surprised of the level of qualification that we find.
PowerCo has already hired more than 200 people. All are said to be looking forward to the groundbreaking ceremony.
Foundations is the next focus for our first production building, and then the other big milestone this year is steel construction.
Once the initial phase is complete, production will begin.
Whether it's mid-year or the third quarter, I can't tell you, but we definitely aim for sooner rather than later in 2027.
More than 40 jobs are already active on the company's website. Sean Irvin, CTV News.
The Prime Minister returned to Ottawa today, strategizing next steps in the American trade war. Those discussions involved Mark Carney's cabinet, as well as virtual meetings with premiers. Mike Lucatua reports.
Prime Minister Carney, which counter-tariffs?
The Prime Minister was tight-lipped a day after saying he'd consider removing some counter-tariffs on American goods if it would help Canadian industries. While saying he supports Mark Carney, Ontario Premier Doug Ford has a different take.
You can't have tariffs on one side and not the other. I still stand by what I say. Dollar for dollar, tariff for tariff. They understand strength, not weakness.
He was planning to deliver that message this afternoon as the premiers held a virtual meeting with the Prime Minister. Once it ended, Ford's message to Canadians is to buckle up for a rough road ahead.
I'm praying that everything's going to go fine. But if it doesn't, I got to ask the people, do you trust President Trump? I don't.
In recent days, Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe has called for Canada to remove or reduce counter-tariffs on all American goods. Some feel like the countrywide resolve is being tested.
As this has dragged on with no obvious resolution in sight, some of that determination is flagging a bit.
In an interview with CTV News on Tuesday, the U.S. ambassador to Canada cautioned that trade talks could be slow over the next weeks as U.S. President Donald Trump focuses on a deal with China. And that's why some trade experts believe Canada should refrain from retaliating.
I do think we have to hold something like a retaliation as a threat in case Trump does decide to hit us with something else.
And one example of that unpredictability, President Trump announced an additional 25% tariffs on goods from India because that country is importing Russian oil. India's tariff rate could rise to 50%. Mike Lecoulteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
London Hydro officials are proposing a new entity to pursue other non-regulated business opportunities.
We're excited to be going in front of City Council on the 14th of August to SBPC to talk about the opportunity to create an affiliate company that would run alongside with London Hydro, exploring opportunities that would help drive economic development for the region.
Officials say this potential affiliate would explore new areas in technology and, if approved, would compete in the retail energy market, offering services not available under the regulated framework. According to company officials, this would improve customer experience and potentially lower cost. It's something the mayor says he's open to.
Other cities have very mature affiliate profiles where they have multiple affiliate corporations that are doing different things and generating revenue for cities, all within the ownership and assets of those municipalities. So it's something that if we don't actually consider this, we're going to fall behind what others are doing and we're going to miss out on potential revenues.
Good evening. I'm meteorologist Gary Archibald for CTV News. Daytime heating erupted, some showers and thunderstorms, but it was all within the vicinity of the great city of London. We saw it in Michigan, parts of Upper Ohio, towards the Bruce Peninsula. We still are in the midst of a relatively stable air mass, but there's a chance of a repeat performance because it is indeed warm and humid at the surface, and the air quality isn't great. I'll talk about the prospects for a better tomorrow on all fronts. That's coming up. For now, I'll send it back to you at the desk. Carlyle?
Thank you, Gary. Officials with the Middlesex London Health Unit say the local Legionella outbreak is over. They had reported 70 cases dating back to July 8th. Nearly all of those patients required hospitalization and 3 of them died. At this point, the outbreak source has not been confirmed. Provincial police say they've shut down a cannabis dispensary in London operating without a license. Police say they seized nearly $50,000 worth of goods from a store called Natural Unity, raiding the property at the end of July. They say a 22-year-old man from London faces charges. Community pushback in Lambton County against a proposed supportive housing project, the first of its kind in the area. As Brian Bicknell reports, before any approval has even taken place, would-be neighbors are clear they don't want it.
The message couldn't be more clear. The very property Indwell Community Homes hopes to build a supportive housing project is surrounded by signage saying no Indwell. On nearby streets, the same signs can be seen on front yards. Neighbors say they've already experienced enough trouble from a nearby shelter.
And they're coming around and they're all drugged up and everything. We kick them out of the corner of the parking lot over here. I'm security there, walking by. They're stealing all around here.
I don't know if it's booze, drugs, whatever. They have addictions, mental issues, and we just don't need any more here.
Lambton County has provided this George Street property for the county's first supportive housing project. Indwell is proposing a building with 50 deeply affordable apartments with wraparound supports.
Oftentimes when we think about a shelter, somebody needs a place to rest tonight, but then they have to go out onto the street and make a way and look for things like food and services during the day. Very different. What we're talking about is affordable housing and with supports on site to help people to connect to services in the community.
There's no price for human dignity. There's no price for a human anywhere to have to live on. I lived on the streets. I noticed I didn't have this kind of help. So I just think it's wrong that these people say they're doing our part when they're doing nothing.
Mayor Mike Bradley says the city has not yet received a formal planning application for the project. But in the meantime, he says he's been disappointed by the discord within the community.
Some of the emails I've seen from both sides of the issue aren't helpful. They're confrontational, they're off with information that is inappropriate or not factual.
This is Rainbow Park, just off Sarnia's downtown. And just beyond this fencing is where between 100 and 200 people lived at any one time in encampments. That is, until this past February when police cleared them out.
Some say the problem never went away.
We try to help them, but they don't want help. They just want to do what they want to do.
Sarnia City Council is holding a special meeting on the Idwell proposal on Monday. In Sarnia, Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
New training efforts are underway at southwestern Ontario hotels meant to combat human trafficking. With more on the project, here's Robert Lothian.
We're proud to stand up and say, not in our hotel, not in our city.
That message from hotel operators to human traffickers. Leamington Quality Inn General Manager Dharmesh Patel says it's one being shared across the country.
Hotels do play a part in this because that accommodation part, it's a huge part of this.
Provincial hotel associations are introducing the Not in Our Hotel initiative. The program offers free training to help staff identify warning signs, recognize potential risks, and take the proper steps to report them.
So this free training empowers every team member, from front desk to housekeeping, to know what to look for and how to respond safely.
Patel says 75% of human trafficking victims are funneled through hotels.
When we talk about motels or hotels, for sure, it's a place where sex trafficking is occurring.
As an anti-human trafficking project coordinator, Taylor Vetero says there's more room for hotels to work with frontline organizations like his.
Able to do consultation with hotel employees or even be part of the intervention strategy when we talk about providing interventions to people who are in hotels.
Human trafficking can include sex or labor trafficking. In 2023, Statistics Canada reported 570 trafficking incidents reported to police across the nation. In Windsor, the crime is often believed to be more prevalent than in other regions.
The 401 is a big piece, like having the ability to go up and down the 401 and stop at various cities along the way and end up in a place like Windsor.
They cross the border, or they've got clients that come across the border. So Windsor just makes it easier because obviously with a casino and things like that, you've got a lot of transient traffic coming through.
For hotels across Windsor-Essex, Patel says the plan is to start rolling out the training in the coming weeks.
Even if we save one victim by doing this, then it's been beneficial.
Robert Lothian, CTV News.
A major piece of London's medical and cultural history has found a new home. Officials with London Health Sciences Centre have announced an archival donation to Western University. Rita Ismail has more on the significance of what will be preserved.
A quiet corner of Western University now holds 150 years of London's medical history.
So this is one box from the London Health Sciences Archives.
London Health Sciences Centre has officially donated its historical archives to Western libraries. That's 152 boxes of artifacts, documents and records once stored at Victoria and Children's hospitals.
The history that I've seen in these records is really critical to London's history and healthcare actually in Canada. So it's a great partnership for us.
LHSE says these archives tell the story of their evolution through handwritten letters, photographs and artifacts.
So this is a whole set of china that came as part of the archives collection.
It's a meaningful time for us to be making this donation in collaboration with Western to ensure that the history of our past, which is a legacy in our region of healthcare, both through the buildings and the people, lands and rooted in London, Ontario, with London partners of ours, and we're able to access them, public's able to access them, researchers are able to access them.
The material will now be preserved in Western's climate-controlled archival facility, which plans to eventually make much of it searchable and publicly accessible.
It's important to have the records here because we have an environment here that is conducive to proper preservation of the records, as well as providing access to researchers. We have a diploma from the London General Hospital Training School for Nurses.
Archivists are now busy sorting and cataloging, with future plans that include digitizing parts of the collection. This partnership not only preserves LHSC's past, but also opens doors to future discovery. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
Jamaican vibes are taking over the Covent Garden Market this weekend. With more on the annual Jerk Festival, here's Nick Paparella.
I know this little girl, her name is Maxine. Her beauty's like a bunch of roses.
Jerk chicken and Jamaican patties combined with reggae music and craft vendors will all fuse together for the 3rd annual Jerk Festival London happening at the Covent Garden Market this weekend. It's all part of bringing a little bit of Jamaica to the Forest City.
That's the whole vibe, the whole environment. That's that piece of Jamaica that you can have with you while in London. You know, it's like bringing Jamaica here. So the food and that's the culture and the whole experience.
The music is a big part of the 2-day event.
We have London's top reggae DJs. We got London top reggae artists, and the headliners, we have international DJs coming in. And on Sunday, one of my favorite DJs, DJ White Boy out of Toronto, who's one of the top DJs in Toronto. He'll be headlining on Sunday. And we have performances too, so should be a great time.
Jerk Festival London has free admission, and things get underway Saturday afternoon.
Well, yeah, as you know, Jamaica has a very, like its culture is all over the world. It's a very prominent culture, so just bringing it here and sharing it with the community is a pleasure. So the food, that's the people, and that's the vibe. And the vibe is a great vibe, so that's what we're trying to bring to the community.
Nick Paparella, CTV News.
When we come back, it's the Tee Up with Brent Lail, and we'll introduce you to the London umpire who's heading to the Little League World Series.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's latest.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvlondon.ca, your home for news.
Welcome back. It's time for the Tee Up with Brent Lail. And Brent, we start off with what's been a golden week so far for local track athletes at the Canadian Championships.
Yes, Jackson McKay and Julia Tunks both set meet records, while Julia's younger sister Jenna also is bringing home a gold medal.
With home stretch to go before hitting the bell lap. Let's give it up for Grace Kirstenhoff.
There's Julia setting a Canadian Championship meet record with a throw of 60.68 meters. After breaking the national senior record earlier this year, she's off to Bahamas next week for a meet which will lead into the World Championships in Tokyo.
I was really nervous going into this meet because I hadn't been performing very well the last few months, and honestly, I was debating stopping my season, but I was kind of just you know what, I have really nothing to lose this year. I'm trying to make Tokyo, so I might as well just give it my best go. And then I came out there and I reclaimed my title, hit the meet record, and threw over 60, so I was really happy with it.
And Jackson McKay won his second straight Canadian under-20 decathlon title by nearly 1,000 points with a meet record 7,652. He won 9 of the 10 events, and despite a grueling few days, the soon-to-be 19-year-old dominated the competition.
I had to take care of my body for sure. That was probably the one thing that was most important, kind of just taking care of my body. And, after every event, just kind of stretching out and getting physio a couple times. And, I think just pushing it, pushing my limits and doing the best I can and trying my best in every event kind of led towards that success. And yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Local heir apparent for Damian Warner, perhaps.
Yeah, we both could do that same job.
Oh, definitely. No problem. Brent, for 25 years, drag racing fans have packed the Grand Bend Motorplex, cheering on some of the world's best drivers.
Yeah, immaculate weather this week helped the WDRA Canadian Nationals draw close to 10,000 fans.
I've been to all the races here. Street whole family, Paul, hats off to them and what they do. They've got that clean, beautiful facility. Racetracks like second to none. And they just know how to bring in the right cars and the right amount of people. Park lot was full yet last night. Grandstands for the first night of qualifying. It was like, I couldn't believe how many people were actually here.
It's got such a huge draw. We've got so many new fans that come here that have discovered the sport of drag racing, have discovered the Grand Bend Motorplex, and they come here now year after year saying they can't believe they didn't do this before.
Here we go. Milligan, Muldowney, the finals from Canada.
It's amazing. It seems like yesterday. Paul had to remind me who I ran in the final and what the results were.
Milligan gets the jump.
The area is beautiful. Makes me kind of want to leave the States sometime. I used to kind of come through this area on my way to New York. I used to sneak through Ontario to go back home for a visit. The Canadians treated me royally.
And it was awesome seeing a legend like Shirley Muldowney there.
And Brent, finally a local official representing Canada at a world-renowned baseball tournament.
Yeah, the Little League World Series in Williamsport, Pennsylvania brings some of the best 13-year-old baseball players from across the world. A London man is the only Canadian umpire headed to work the event. Rob McDonald is headed to Williamsport to umpire the Little League World Series.
It is absolutely a dream come true. Let's have a great game, guys.
The 35-year-old London math teacher was chosen as the only Canadian to work the tournament after years of evaluations at the provincial and national level.
It's something I've been working towards since I was 11, 12 years old. When I got the letter, got the call, it was just, is this actually happening?
The event, featuring 10 teams from the U.S. and 10 more internationally, is televised on TSN and ESPN and draws millions of viewers.
The Little League is basically like pro ball on a small field. Like, I've been down there before just to watch, and some of these kids, the way they field the ball, the way they throw the ball, it's like watching the major leagues on a 60-foot field. This is only the second time getting to represent Canada. First time was a couple years ago at the Junior Little League World Series, but this is just on a magnified scale to that.
Growing up in the Hamilton area, he follows a long family lineage of volunteer officials. It started with his grandfather in the late 1950s. His colleague recognizes his talent.
He's good on both plate and bases, and he's in the right position at the right time and makes the calls correctly. A dedicated umpire, and has a very good passion for the game.
He'll have his mom, dad, brothers, and other family members joining him in Williamsport, which is years in the making.
It's finally going to happen. I'm going to get to go.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
Meteorologist Gary Archibald with me tonight. Gary, I was taking in some baseball this long weekend. I was up in small town northern Ontario, Elk Lake, New Liskeard. It was hazy, though, up there, and as I understand, down here as well. Fortunately, that has eased up today.
You're right about that. Good evening, Carlyle. Some of the wind profiles have changed. The velocities have changed. So the stagnant air mass that is smoke-filled and what we're breathing at the surface has, been diluted to some degree, but it's still warm, it's still humid, and when you factor in all three ingredients, the heat and humidity plus the pollutants in the air, can be tough for most of us. Reached a high of 29, our average is 26. The humidity does make it feel warmer, as you know. 27 right now, feels like about 32 at the airport in the great city of London, Ontario. So we're in the low 30s for the most part, a little bit cooler as we head northward bound, a beautiful Bruce Peninsula territory. We got into some daytime heating, that is pockets or parcels of air situated intermittently across the lower Great Lakes, infused with some lift in the atmosphere, heat and humidity, rising air. That warm air condenses out into some showers and thunderstorms across the northeastern shores of Lake Huron. It'll be quieter tonight, but we'll see that daytime heating trigger yet again and again the same areas in and around Lake Simcoe, Also for Georgian Bay, the Bruce Peninsula proper, and the eastern shores of Lake Huron. Elsewhere along the 401 corridor, it should be quiet from London to east towards Toronto or west towards Windsor, Essex. And the air quality has improved a touch since the weekend, but we're still not into a very high wind velocity profile. So not a lot of rain, that's not going to wash us out anyways, and not a lot of wind in terms of the speeds. So what we need is a nice, good, prolonged, gusty day or two to help the circulation, relatively speaking. It's hazy tonight through to dusk. 24 degrees at 8 p.m. feels like about 30, 22 degrees. And again, when I show the clear sky, I'm talking about clouds being clear. It's still a hazy night into a early morning. 19 degrees feels like about 25, 26 at midnight. Again, the winds are light, so the air is still stagnant for the most part in our region, right across the board for southern Ontario proper. Take a look at our Thursday into Friday trend. It's just about the fair weather. Temperatures stable at around 28 degrees for daytime highs. The weekend gets a little bit warmer. In fact, humidex values closer to about 35 to 37 between Saturday, Sunday. Core temperatures in the low 30s. 30 degrees Monday, cloudy, showers possible Tuesday into Wednesday, and will cool off a bit, but it will still be seasonal with temperatures around 24 to 26 degrees Celsius. The Midwest, a similar looking story. I think there's still a chance of some late night shower thunderstorm activity. The weekend is fair. Temperatures fluctuating a bit. Upper 20s, low 30s, and then low 30s for Monday, Tuesday until Wednesday, and some showers possible. Again, temperatures down to about 25, 26 would still be seasonal for this time of the year. Our 7-day forecast, courtesy of our good friends at Metal Roof Outlet. Carlyle.
Gary, thanks very much. Still ahead, 5 million Aeroplan members about to face changes for their rewards points. Details on how that will impact your collecting on the other side of the break.
We want to hook you up with an incredible summer night out. You, little big town, Toronto. It could happen.
They're playing that Budweiser stage, and we got tickets all week at 8:35. Make sure you're listening for your chance to win. Good luck.
Air Canada flight attendants have voted overwhelmingly in favor of strike action, which could begin as early as August 16th. With the latest on where negotiations stand, here's Judy Trinh.
Mike Abraham has booked a flight to Slovenia for a bike tour. He's scheduled to take off just as Air Canada's flight attendants are poised to strike.
Even if I was to actually try to rebook it now with either with Air Canada or with a competitor, say a European airline, the price would be at least 3 times as much.
Air Canada's 10-year contract with its 10,000 flight attendants is expiring. The union representing the workers says better wages and working conditions are needed. Flight attendants average 35 hours of unpaid work each month.
We're not paid anytime the aircraft is not in motion. So any of the pre-flight checks, mandatory safety briefings, all the required stuff that is done on the ground prior to pushback, as well as the deplaning process.
The workers are getting support from the Conservatives, urging the government to amend the labor code to ensure flight attendants are paid for every minute they're required to be at work from check-in to sign-off. Last year, Air Canada generated operating revenues of more than $22 billion. Thousands of passengers could be impacted if a deal is not reached by August 16th.
This will be a test for the Carney government to see whether they have the intestinal fortitude to let labor relations work its way through this process.
Even though Abraham has been planning his trip for months, he doesn't support government intervention, but does support fair wages for workers.
Being paid for your hours on the job, that I think is a no-brainer. I can't possibly understand why a company wouldn't do that.
In a previous statement, Air Canada said it was committed to reaching a fair and equitable contract with its flight attendants. Both sides returned to the bargaining table on Friday. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Officials with the North American retailer Claire's have filed for bankruptcy protection in the U.S., and Canadian filings are expected to follow suit. Officials say stores will remain open while the bankruptcy process plays out, the second such filing for the company in the last 7 years. The chain's CEO says increased competition, spending trends, and a decline in brick-and-mortar retail are behind the filing decision. Claire's also largely imports from countries which have been hit with U.S. tariffs. Canadian health officials are warning about salmonella concerns for Dubai-branded chocolate. They say 9 people have been hospitalized amid dozens of reported cases linked to pistachios and pistachio-containing products. Canada's Food Inspection Agency has now issued a recall warning for Dubai brand chocolate. According to agency officials, 52 salmonella cases have been confirmed across 4 provinces since early March, mostly in Quebec, just 9 in Ontario. A significant change is coming to the Aeroplan rewards program starting next year. Instead of earning based on your flight distance, your points earned will be calculated based on the total dollars spent. Pat Foran has more on the impact for points collectors.
Starting on January 1st, Aeroplan will overhaul the way its members earn points, and the biggest change means you'll earn based on how much you spend instead of how far you go. Phil McCulley is a frequent flyer and has been an Aeroplan member for the past 20 years. He's concerned business travelers buying more expensive tickets will see the greatest benefits.
But it absolutely benefits people who travel on the max fare class. So people who fly business everywhere are disproportionately benefiting from this program than people who travel, let's say, like a lower fare class.
The majority of our members are going to be better off than they were before.
Air Canada says the changes to the loyalty program will benefit those who engage with the airline and its partners the most. Starting in the new year, you'll earn 1 Aeroplan point per dollar spent. In 2 examples on Air Canada's website, it states if you book a flight between Toronto and Montreal with a base fare of $427, you'll earn 427 Aeroplan points. In another example, if you booked a round trip from Montreal to Paris and the base fare is $1,500, under the current plan you would receive almost 7,000 points, but under the new plan you'll receive 1,500 Aeroplan points. The more you pay, the more points you'll get.
It can't be seen as a positive, but it can't be seen as negative either. It really comes down to the individual, whether these changes are good for you or not.
Rewards Canada, a website that studies loyalty programs, says those who pay more for expensive flights will achieve elite status faster and rack up more points than those who are searching for bargains.
The more you spend with the airline, the more you're going to be rewarded, whether it's elite status or with points earning as well.
The changes are also more in line with other airlines that have also moved to revenue-based models. Pat Foran, CTV News.
Canada's main stock index soared more than 300 points today as investors rallied around Shopify's quarterly results. The TSX was up 351 points. In New York, the Dow added 81, the Nasdaq climbed to 253. Canadian dollar gaining a 1/5 of a cent today. On commodity markets, gold fell $1.30 an ounce. Oil lost 81 cents a barrel. Later on CTV News, is the Canada Strong Pass too strong? Tourist sites overwhelmed with traffic as people take advantage of the summer perks. Welcome back. The provincial government has reportedly come to an agreement with the Ontario Medical Association on a new fee schedule. However, it's not official yet. Pauline Chan has more on these still contentious issues.
We've been working on the deal for more than a year with the government to really ensure that every Ontarian has a family doctor.
OMA CEO Kimberly Moran says agreement has been reached on some key issues, particularly the heavy administrative workload carried by comprehensive family care practitioners.
It's grown dramatically in the last number of years, and that it wasn't compensated for properly. And so to understand what clinical administration is, it could be, for example, that a family doctor needs to refer you for knee surgery. but they want to make sure that they want to refer you to a surgeon that specializes in the problem that you have.
Under the new agreement called FHO Plus, doctors would be able to bill for tasks such as doing patients' charts, time spent reviewing test results, and filling out various forms. But will more money for doctors mean more doctors for the 2 million Ontario residents currently without primary care? Moran says of the 15,000 Ontario physicians trained in family medicine, only 9,000 currently work full-time in their specialty. The rest work in areas like emergency medicine.
The government is working on a number of initiatives that will help retain and attract family doctors.
Today, Health Minister Sylvia Jones refused to reveal any more details about the deal with the OMA.
What I will tell you is that we have seen some very positive movement in terms of working with the OMA and other partners to make sure that as we expand our primary care opportunities, the physicians are well respected and get appropriate compensation for that.
There's just a couple of remaining items that the arbitration board is going to decide on, and we're expecting to hear back from them in the fall.
Moran hopes the new deal will encourage more student doctors to choose family practice as their specialty. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
A new study is shedding light on the impact of verbal abuse during childhood. According to the journal BMJ Open, people who experienced physical abuse as a child were 50% more likely to report low mental health in adulthood compared with kids who reported no abuse. Kids who experienced verbal abuse were 60% more likely to report low well-being. The authors say verbal abuse in American families has increased in recent decades while physical abuse has declined. They say verbal abuse can include blaming, insulting, criticizing, or threatening children. A judge has denied bail for 3 men accused of orchestrating an ideologically motivated plot to forcibly seize land near Quebec City. Those 3 men face terrorism charges, as well as charges related to guns and explosives. A 4th man faces weapons charges, and he has been granted bail. Military officials say 2 of the suspects were active members of the armed forces when they were arrested last month. They say searches in early 2024 led to seizures of explosives, firearms, and ammunition. An NHL player, along with his team's mascot, had a close encounter with Alaskan wildlife recently during a promotional video shoot.
While we were fishing, we had a pretty close call with a couple bears. Right there.
The bear approached while John Hayden and the mascot were shooting in a national park. They quickly decided to return to shore along with the film crew. Grizzly bears are common in the area and they're used to seeing humans. Team officials say they had hired guides on site for safety just in case. Tomorrow on CTV News, a partnership between Western University, Google, and Breakthrough Energy using cutting-edge technology, reducing air travel pollution. Details tomorrow on CTV News at 6.
Let's look at our CTV News weather snapshot. Thanks to Ken Adams for sending in this image. Expect a warm seasonal evening and overnight period under mostly clear conditions. Mostly sunny weather across much of southern Ontario tomorrow. And a high for the city of London, 28 degrees Celsius. Humidex value of 33 to 35. Remember that your sunscreen with the UV expected to be very high, rated at 9.
An investigation is underway at an American military base in Georgia after a U.S. Army sergeant opened fire, wounding 5 other soldiers. As NBC's Chris Pallone reports, each of the victims is expected to survive, and the suspect has been arrested.
Gunfire ringing out at Fort Stewart near Savannah, Georgia Wednesday morning. The Army says 5 soldiers are now being treated for gunshot wounds.
Thankfully, all are in stable condition and all are expected to recover. The alleged shooter is in custody. We have reestablished security.
The Army says the suspected shooter is Sergeant Cornelius Radford. The shooting took place just before 11 at Radford's workplace. They believe he used his own handgun, not a military weapon, to shoot his fellow soldiers.
And we're going to have to determine how he was able to get a handgun to his place of duty.
The Army says other soldiers tackled Radford and held him until he was arrested. The motive for the shooting, unclear.
Sergeant Radford has been interviewed by the Army Criminal Investigation Division and is currently in pretrial confinement, awaiting a charging decision by the Office of the Special Trial Counsel.
Fort Stewart is the largest Army base in the East with 21,000 active duty soldiers. It's home to the 3rd Infantry Division. Truck driver Ron Peavy told MSNBC guards prevented him from leaving Fort Stewart moments after the shooting when the base went on lockdown.
And the whole base went quiet. All you can hear was the emergency vehicles whizzing by in every direction. There had to be 30 of them, if not more.
The White House says President Trump has been briefed on the shooting and is monitoring the situation. Chris Pallone, NBC News.
An attorney for Sean Diddy Combs says the disgraced music mogul wants President Donald Trump to pardon him for prostitution-related offenses.
Mr. Combs is a very hopeful person, and I believe that he remains hopeful.
A jury convicted Combs last month of transportation to engage in prostitution while acquitting him of the most serious charges, racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. One of the world's most active volcanoes is erupting again. This is the 30th eruption so far this year for Hawaii's Mount Kilauea. The volcano started spewing lava this morning from the north vent of a crater. Local authorities are warning residents to be aware of volcanic gas. Each eruption cycle this year has lasted between 13 hours and up to 8 days. The city of Hiroshima, Japan, held a minute's moment of silence today on the 80th anniversary of the atomic bombing. The memorial commemorated the victims, all killed when the American military dropped a nuclear weapon over the city in 1945. 3 days later, a second atomic bomb was dropped on the nearby city of Nagasaki. The attacks slaughtered more than 200,000 people in the initial blasts, as well as the lingering radiation-related poisonings. There are concerns the federal government's new Canada Strong Pass might be too popular. Over the long weekend, staff at a national park in Alberta had to divert traffic away, while other officials say the volume of vehicles is not sustainable. With more, here's Tyler Barrow.
Two things not hard to find in Banff in the summer: stunning peaks, swarms of people. Irina Kachun and Ior Mazurek recently moved to Toronto from Ukraine. They're taking advantage of the Canada Strong Pass that provides free access into national parks.
It's very cool that Parks Pass is free, so we decided to use it.
These two Calgarians are also partly here because of the free entry.
It's not much of a trek to come all the way out, and then now that you don't have to pay for it.
The pass was an election pitch by Prime Minister Mark Carney. It was a strategy to unite Canadians by encouraging domestic travel. The pass came into effect June 20th, and in Banff, it hasn't been seamless. Year to date, the town's traffic volume is up 6%. Recently, it recorded its second busiest day ever.
Cannot handle that volume of vehicles into the long term, so we need to continue to work with our provincial and federal partners to look at mass transit.
The town also points to Calgary and area's booming population, strong U.S. dollar, and the sentiment of Canadians wanting to vacation at home for the increase in traffic volume. Residents share the mayor's concern.
Getting out of town by car, like sometimes it's taken me like 20, 30 minutes to get out of town.
It's too much. The reality, there's too much tourism that has to be monitored.
And over the long weekend, Waterton had to divert traffic away.
We want to be sure that we don't reach gridlock for safety reasons like in any other jurisdiction.
While parks try to handle the volume of vehicles, businesses are noticing the increase in volume.
The amount of local Canadian traffic has spiked very noticeably, especially day traffic.
The crowds will likely continue as the Canada Strong Pass will be good until September 2nd, the Tuesday after the Labor Day weekend. Tyler Barrow, CTV News, Banff.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest in the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
Finally tonight, a special ceremony this past weekend in the nation's capital honoring the people who helped build one of Canada's most iconic landmarks and lost their lives doing so. As Camille Wilson reports, nearly 200 years later, their contributions have not been forgotten.
Tom Flood gets emotional when Colonel by Day comes around.
I come here every year to recognize and appreciate the work my two great-great-grandfathers did when they came to Canada in 1826 to help build this canal.
People gathering Monday afternoon at the Celtic Cross Monument near the Rideau Canal to pay tribute to the estimated 1,000 workers that lost their lives building the Rideau Canal between 1826 and 1832.
This is a deep connection because of the awareness of how courageous it was for the Irish to leave everything and literally come across in the whole of a ship.
Prayers, speeches, tributes, and a moment of silence shared.
Because of the recognition our Rideau Canal has, not just to those in our city, whether it's during the summer or in the winter months as the world's longest skating rink, also to the tourists as well. So to both, it's great to it's a vision of beauty and splendor.
As many as 7,000 people worked to build the Rideau Canal, 16 hours a day, 6 days a week, fighting cold winters and hot summers.
We just appreciate the work and the freedom that we enjoy here in Canada because of their early days and their hard work.
A lot of people don't realize and recognize that, hey man, like the times were tough when they built this thing between 1826 and 1832, and a lot of folks got hurt and were killed as a result.
5 engraved symbols on the monument: an Irish harp, a pick and shovel, a mosquito, a wheelbarrow, and an explosion representing the tools used, working conditions, and disease people died from. The monument was first unveiled in 2004.
It's very important to a person who is an Irish immigrant to have that connection to the people who came before us.
Birthed from tragedy, now the Rideau Canal is a World Heritage Site, one of the biggest tourist attractions in the capital. Camille Wilson, CTV News.
And that's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. I'm back tonight with your late news at 11. Bye for now.